Right now, somewhere near you, your phone is about to buzz. Your heart will jump before you even read the screen. Your hand will reach for it without asking your permission first, like it belongs to someone else for a second. But for 300,000 years, no human heart ever raced over a notification. Your ancestors' chests only pounded like that when something with teeth was 30 meters away, close enough to smell, close enough to kill. You couldn't have felt your own hands shaking, your palms turning cold, your breath catching high in your throat, without a real predator somewhere nearby in the grass. What you're about to learn changes everything you think you know about fear, about the nervous system running underneath your skin, and about why you can never seem to fully relax, even on a quiet, ordinary night. For most of human history, fear had exactly one job. It kept your ancestors alive long enough to eat, to mate, to raise the next generation, to wake up tomorrow and do it all again under the same wide, unfiltered sky. A rustle in the grass, a shadow on the ridge, a smell carried on the wind. Fear was always pointed at something real, something with claws, something that could actually end a life in the next 60 seconds, not in some abstract, distant future you only imagined. For roughly 300,000 years, this system never had to learn anything genuinely new. The world it was built for stayed almost exactly the same, generation after generation after generation. Then, in 1915, a Harvard physiologist named Walter Cannon sat in his laboratory and watched something strange happen inside frightened animals. He measured their blood and found it flooded with adrenaline the instant danger appeared, before the animal had even consciously decided to run, before thought had time to catch up with the body. Cannon named it the fight-or-flight response, and in doing so, he proved something nobody had ever proven before. The body reacts to a threat faster than the mind can think about it, faster than language, faster than reason, faster than choice, faster than memory, faster than anything you would call deciding. Decades later, researchers digging through medical records found something even stranger sitting quietly in the numbers. Around the year 1900, almost none of the reasons people visited a doctor were linked to stress that lived only inside the mind, with no physical wound to point to. Today, by some estimates, that number sits close to 80% of all primary care visits across the country. The danger didn't disappear from the world. It just stopped showing up with teeth, with claws, with a face you could actually run from or fight. But here's what's fascinating. Nobody ever told the alarm system inside you that the lions were gone. Here is what almost nobody tells you about that alarm system. In 1871, a physician named Jacob Mendez de Costas sat down with thousands of soldiers returning from the American Civil War, men who had survived the fighting and come home in one piece, with no visible wound anywhere on their bodies. They arrived with racing hearts, shaking hands, shortness of breath, and a constant, crushing sense that something terrible was about to happen at any moment. There was no enemy in sight. No bullet, no blade, no danger anywhere near them anymore, not for miles in any direction. Doctors at the time called it soldier's heart, and for decades, nobody fully understood what was happening inside these men, healthy bodies behaving as if a war was still raging all around them, every single hour of the day. But historians had ignored this for years, because they couldn't imagine a body screaming danger when there was no danger left in the room to scream about, no enemy left to point a finger at. Then, more than a century later, a neuroscientist named Joseph Ledoux mapped the exact circuit responsible for that scream. Working at New York University throughout the 1990s, he traced how a sound or an image reaches a tiny, almond-shaped structure deep in the brain called the amygdala in roughly 12 milliseconds, while the thinking, reasoning part of your brain takes nearly 200 milliseconds just to notice that anything happened at all. 12 milliseconds plus 200 milliseconds. Your body declares a full emergency almost a fifth of a second before you're even consciously aware that anything is wrong, let alone what it actually is. Nobody taught your body to do this. It simply did, on its own, as if some ancient program had been sitting inside you, waiting, the entire time, for exactly this moment. Around the same period, a Stanford researcher named Robert Sapolsky spent more than 30 years studying wild baboons in the African savanna, and found their stress hormones spiked just as high after a single social insult from another baboon as they did during a genuine, life-threatening attack from a predator. The body, it turns out, cannot reliably tell the difference between a lion at 30 meters and a deadline sitting quietly in your inbox. Nobody designed this to break you. Each step, on its own, made perfect sense at the time it happened. In 1844, the telegraph reached Washington, and for the first time in human history, danger from 1,000 miles away could reach your nervous system in minutes instead of months, or never reach you at all. In 1920, commercial radio began broadcasting directly into homes, carrying crisis after crisis straight into living rooms that had once been the safest rooms on Earth, the one place fear was never supposed to live. By 1980, a channel called CNN launched the first 24-hour news cycle, which meant your amygdala could now be fed a fresh threat at any hour, day or night, without ever pausing once to let the system rest. Then, in 2007, the smartphone arrived in your pocket, and the threat detector that once scanned a single 30-meter radius for a single predator was suddenly wired into nearly 8 billion people at once, all day, every single day, with no off switch. The average person today checks their phone more than 90 times in a single day, and each one of those checks carries roughly the same biological signature as scanning tall grass for movement at the edge of camp. Your cortisol now spikes for unread emails, comment sections, and 3 small dots that mean someone is typing, instead of claws, instead of fangs, instead of anything that could genuinely end your life in the next minute. And here's the part that almost nobody talks about, the quiet part. We never actually fixed the alarm system running inside you. We just handed it an infinite, around-the-clock supply of false alarms, and quietly agreed, all of us, together, to call that modern life. So what if your racing heart at 2 in the morning isn't a malfunction at all? What if checking your phone for the 100th time today isn't your willpower failing you, isn't some personal weakness you alone need to fix? What if it's simply your body doing exactly what it was built, over hundreds of thousands of years, to do, just aimed at a century it was never designed for and never warned about in advance? You were handed an ancient alarm system, shaped across 300,000 years of grass and shadow and 30-meter distances, tuned with extraordinary precision to a single world of claws and teeth and silence right before an attack. Then, quietly, piece by piece, telegraphed by radio by 24-hour news by smartphone, that original world was removed from underneath it, taken away while the alarm kept running. The alarm itself was left fully armed, with nothing left to point it at except inboxes, headlines, and the particular, ringing silence of a bedroom at 2 in the morning. Your fear isn't broken. It was never broken, not for one single second of its 300,000-year existence. It's simply standing guard over a world that no longer exists, defending a village that was torn down centuries ago, still patrolling a tree line where nothing has moved in 300,000 years. We didn't lose our predators. We lost the entire world our fear was built for, and quietly replaced it with one that never, ever stops ringing, day or night, awake or asleep. Most of us will spend our entire lives flinching at lions that were never actually there, and most of us will go to our graves never knowing what we lost the day the lions finally disappeared.